Fixer Undercover has recently launched for MetaQuest headsets, and before it arrived, there wasn't really too much talk about the game. But now it's here, it's got some great reviews. So we're going to dive in and find out exactly what's going on with Fixer Undercover.
My tux is wasted.
Fixer Undercover is essentially an escape room game. It's a game that has you in small areas exploring lots of different puzzles that all are interconnected. You might say, well, that's nothing unusual. There's loads of escape room games in VR. In fact, recently, here at 131XR, we did our best escape rooms in VR video, which you can see up the top right now. But is Fixer Undercover good enough to join that list? Honestly, it is pretty good. So the game dresses up the idea that you are a spy infiltrating a prison, and so you'll be completing puzzles with handyman tools. It's a weird combination because the game sets up, you're a spy, you're going undercover in a prison on this mission, and then it goes, now here's a spanner, here's a screwdriver, and whatever else. And you're like, okay, so am I a handyman or a spy? But this is all just set dressing. What Fixer Undercover really is an escape room game where you've got a select amount of tools and have to figure out how to use them to solve the puzzles in front of you. It's pretty straightforward stuff, but the spy/handyman element to it does add quite a bit of flavour. You also have an AI companion that's walking around with you and holds a couple of the tools to make things easier. And this AI companion can give you tips on how to progress. Sometimes these tips are useful, sometimes they're really not. But that's not the point. What ultimately is the point of this AI companion is he helps progress the storyline. His name is Winston, and he's this little flying AI drone thing. But that you might think that seems like out of place. But the prison itself has a lot of robotics. It has drones flying around as guards. You can get things such as food delivered to your cell by an automaton of some kind. And it's all perfectly in keeping with that set dressing, with that spy/handyman thematic. And what's more, it all looks the part. Obviously, as most of the game takes place in small areas, the game doesn't have to draw very much at one point, and so the graphics are actually of a really high standard. So thematically, Fixer Undercover seems a bit weird, but it all works. It complements the scenarios that you are in, and the visual design of the game also follows this. So from a story and visual and audio perspective, I can't really complain about Fixer Undercover at all. And the puzzle design is also incredibly welcoming. Now, in this video, as always, we're not going to put any spoilers. You're only going to see bits of the tutorial opening section, the prologue they call it, and the first chapter. Because, of course, we don't want to ruin the game for when you go and dive in yourself. And what you have is, in these small areas that you are confined, you will see that there are sequential puzzles. There will usually be one that begins with being really obvious that there's a solution right by you. And once you've completed that, it then leads on to exploration around the areas and subsequent puzzles. And you'll be using the tools that you have, of which there are 5, to uncover new items. For example, if you find a grate in the wall that has some very obviously yellow screws, you can use a screwdriver to remove those screws and see what's behind the grate. There are also, however, environmental tools. There are objects within each of the spaces that can interact with specific items in certain ways to complete the puzzles. So it's not just a case of using the handyman tools that you have at your disposal, but also these environmental items. This builds to a series of puzzles that are interwoven with one another and allow for a system that keeps you captivated. There will often be points in which you're like, I know the solution to this. I know what I need to do to solve this puzzle, but I don't quite know how to get to the point of preparing that solution. And so you'll need to find another puzzle to solve before you can continue with the puzzle at hand. It sounds complicated, but it is very typical escape room style stuff. But it's all delivered very, very well. I would be hesitant to say that Fixer Undercover is the best VR escape room I've ever played, but it is certainly worthy of all the praise that it's gotten since launch. And the game has gone on seemingly to be quite successful, despite the fact that no one was really paying attention to it before it launched. And honestly, I think it's earned it. It is a game that takes the best elements of VR, of escape rooms in VR, and uses them all to maximize the efficiency of the gameplay, the high quality of that puzzle design. But again, with that really high quality production value, that interesting, if a bit odd storyline, the thematic of you being a spy sent in as a handyman with an AI drone, and that visual and audio quality. So while Fixer Undercover may not have got much attention before launch, it certainly deserves what it has got since launch. Now, that being said, this is a game that is definitely going to be limited. There's no multiplayer options or hidden items to find, at least that we encountered. There are occasional little Easter eggs and like little intriguing things going on, but there's no replay value. Once you have completed a location, once you have completed each room, you'll move on to the next and not think about what came before. So Fixer Undercover's longevity is probably quite limited. There is obviously scope for DLC later down the line, whether they be individual rooms or additional story pieces. That's obviously dependent on the developers themselves. But what is here is really well designed and looks nice, performs well, and will tease your brain a little bit. There will be moments when you have no other option other than to use the hint system, and sometimes that hint system will literally just be do what you've been doing and offer no additional context. So do expect, especially after you've completed a couple of the rooms, to be challenged by this, to put your thinking to the test. We recently did a preview of a game that's coming this summer called Amelia's Escape, which is a similar setup. It's a similar escape room kind of game. And the puzzles there are a bit more elaborate than what you get in Fixer Undercover, but it also has this weird way of throwing out red herrings, interactable items that actually have nothing to do with your progression. Fixer Undercover doesn't do this. Fixer Undercover is a straightforward, here is the environment, here are all the items in the environment, and you can tell which you need to use to progress. You can see everything that you're going to want to interact with as soon as you enter the room. It's just doing things in a sequential order so that you can actually utilize these items that you've already taken note of as soon as you've started. Fixer Undercover then is a really high quality escape room game that does come highly recommended, but it's not pushing any envelopes. It's not doing anything new with escape rooms in VR. It does look really nice and sound really nice, so it is a full package, but don't expect it to reinvent the escape room wheel, especially not as a VR game.
Yes?
The hype that Fixer Undercover has got since it launched is genuinely, it is worth that. It is a really high quality game. So if you're into VR escape rooms, go and check it out. I'm sure you will enjoy this one.